Maria! I'm not done yet!
Hey, what's up everybody, my name is 16 Shadow, welcome back to episode of Let's Play Smash of the Week, and today we'll be doing, I knew a better name for this back in the day, but it's clearly probably gone. Dawn of Planet of the Apes. No, I'm gonna call it Planet of the Apes, or Monkeys, or I'm gonna call it something if I can think of another name besides Planet of the Apes. So, basically, it's just Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong versus themselves, just 4 teams like I did in the last video, and call it a thing. So, I mean, I could call it like Banana Bros or something like that. I don't know, something. I don't know. There's possible names I can think about, but right now it's Planet of the Apes. That's the one I have to go with. But still, or I could just call it the Kong family. I mean, that's a possibility too. I'm so stupid. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking. So, basically. I'm going to be picking, what's going on right now. It looks like the blue team seems to be going pretty good, so I guess I'm going to go with the blue team. So basically, okay, in the last episode of Smash of the Week, I was trying to explain to you guys what I've been doing on my off time, and I only kind of said was planning Let's Plays, future, you know, like recording in advance, which I've been doing with demos, some Tail Shadow X's, and a few other things, but not like all my Let's Plays, of course, so... I did mention one, didn't name it, but I did mention, like, you know, I want to do more futuristic Let's Plays that can be ahead of time. So, I want to mention what I've been doing off camera, off screen, I guess you could say. So, of course, if you don't know, I'm still, I'm still recording. I'm still editing. I'm still doing all this stuff. So, what am I always doing other than that? Well, if you don't know, I'm a collector. I'm a video game collector. My second hobby is collecting anime. But video game will always come first, then anime second. So, I've been collecting since I want to say since 2010, I started collecting video games. So, 7 years ago. Yeah, I could say I found a lot of the best deals back then. But... the thing is, I didn't have like money. I didn't have money to get to, you know, to buy all of these games. And you know, now that I'm older, I have money, even though I can't keep all the money, which feels like I'm on an allowance to have money. Imagine this: so you get paid, let's say, to $900 to $1,100 every 2 weeks. Okay, just to roughly estimate there. So when you get paid, you don't keep it. Of course, I know you have to pay bills and all that, but like, here's the thing. I feel like after paying all the bills, I still have money regardlessly, but it's not really saying I'm going to keep them all, because my mother wants to hide it for savings and all that, which I totally understand, for emergencies and that too. But it feels like I'm on an allowance for my job. Does that make sense? I mean, it doesn't for a lot of people, which I totally fucking understand. But for me, like, it's just so depressing, and I don't like to think about it like that, but... It is, and I don't like to think about it in general, because it just makes me think of that, oh, well, I didn't fucking do that. Oh, well, looks like it's tied for 3 teams. 1 Donkey, 2 Diddy's. As the way it's going right now, I think Diddy Kong's gonna win. Either one of the two, I don't know which one, but, I think, I don't know. The green team is out of the way, though. Anyways. Sorry, I'm kind of paying attention, too. I just, like... It's hard to not... pay for games that you've been waiting for, and also when you're still collecting too for, oh, there goes Donkey Kong, collecting, you know, for games that you're trying to go for, and then you finally find that game and you can't buy it. There's times that piss me off, and I just have to figure out like ways to get around it. That's why, you know, I buy games, you know, like thrift stores, and when I got donated some games too, I like to trade them away to get games I do want. And that seems to be working, but I feel like I'm always at a limit. I'm always there, and I felt like that 2 weeks ago. I felt like I was at my limit. I'm like, fuck, the way that new games are coming out, there's a lot of new games coming out, and I want to get, ooh, hey, look at that. The red team one. I should have gone for red team. That's my favorite color. Like, I feel like I'm always going to be behind. Like, right now, there's games it's been out for a while, and I haven't bought them, even though I want to buy them. I just feel like if I do, I'm going to be behind in a future game. And that kind of sucks. Like, right now, I want Gravity Rush 2. I want Gravity Rush 2. That game's been out since, like, February or something like that. And I still don't own it. And I really want it, and that game's not gone down in price at all. So, it's a $55 game, used, new, it's $60 because it's brand new. So, of course, that makes sense. Sorry, I just saw that death. By the way, we're on the online matches. I'm sorry to forget to mention that. It's just that, like, I don't know, like, it's just, I'm not saying it's getting harder to collect, which it is, I'm not gonna lie, it is, but it's also, like, I feel like I have options, but I don't have options, because I don't want to trade away anything in my collection, which I'm not. I did for a few games, but because I realized I'm never going to play it, I'm like, no, so I traded some of those away. And also for some games I actually want to trade over to like a different console, which I'm already done like a few games, but still. Anyways, Charger won that. Anyways, which, you know, it makes sense. But now that you're kind of limited down to what you're really trying to go for and what you want to keep, it's very hard, I want to say. And plus, a lot of the stuff that I collect for, a lot of people just don't want to, you know, sell or trade or whatever. So, like, here's some guidebooks I want to sell or trade, right? And I can name you a few of them. Like, there's Fallout 3, Grand Theft Auto 4, Fable 3, Mass Effect 1 and 2, Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, Fable, first one, Call of Duty, Black Ops 3. You know, like, some of those are good, you know. Or all of them, depending on who you are. So, like, I would like to trade them, but there's stores that just won't accept them anymore. Or there's the stores that they won't accept them at all. And I'm like, why? I mean, they're gaming related. Like, really, I tried my hardest to, like, sell and trade guidebooks. Okay, I have guidebooks I can't even get rid of. And not even those. There's, like, other guidebooks I just can't get rid of. Like Smash Brothers, Metal Gear Solid 5, Madden. I mean, I get with the Madden, but still, you know, like, just those I can't get rid of. And I'm trying to get rid of, but no one wants them. Of course, I understand they want the games, but I'm just trying to sell some stuff so I can get more games. Of course, that's how it works. But I'm also the person that likes to buy guidebooks. So I don't know. It feels like it's a weird, like, thing. I like how to explain. So I don't know. I'm starting to think about maybe I should sell them another way, shape, or form that I believe I should do. So I feel like I kind of have to go that route. And even said, like, well, why didn't you do that? And why did you do like it's a hassle, which it kind of is, because the way I'm so used to of doing it is sell or trade with a seller I'm very aware of. I've been going for him for like years, and we're cool, we're chill about certain things, and I don't get why. Like, so this seller, he's kind of picky on certain things. I get. So when it comes to like loose stuff, I get. He wants the actual official like stuff. I get that. I get that. There's also, like, you know, like he doesn't, like, he's starting to loosen up on that, because he's starting to sell some games that's like loose, which I like. Finally. Of course, I want to complete too, I don't lie, but I'm like, finally, you're selling loose games. Thank you, because I'm tired of trying to sell you these games I've been having for like ages, and you would never want to take them. And it's true, he's never wanted to take them. And now he's finally wanted to take them. Same with guidebooks. He's finally kind of selling guidebooks because, well, when he buys them just to sell, and he knows he can sell a few. And I'm like, well, it's awesome, but I still want you to, you know, take my guidebooks. Guidebooks I'm trying to give you. Which, you know, that's it. And then there's the weirdest thing about Sega for him. Which I can understand, but I kind of don't understand at the same time. He's a Sega fan. He wasn't really Nintendo, but he knows Nintendo sells. So, this is the thing I don't get. This is the thing I hella don't get. So he likes to. And I'm sorry, Ricardo, if you're watching. I'm sorry, man, but I just have to complain about you. If you're watching this, if you're not, I'm sorry, but there's just one thing I have to complain about you the most. It's your Sega related stuff. So Sega, when I'm trying to give him Sega games, especially Genesis, it has to be in the box. It can't just not be in the box. I'm like, I've been trying to sell him Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage was like a $15. I think it was like a $15 game. I think now. Maybe I don't remember. It's been a minute since I looked it up. And he would never take it in. I mean, I had it up for trade for like several times, and it never would trade it in. And I finally ended up selling it because, well, to a store, and I didn't want to do that. Because I was just kind of tired of holding some of that, and he would just not take in some of these trades. And I'm like, man, I'm giving you some of the good titles. Giving you like X-Men Legends. What was it? I think it was a Harvest Moon game. I think. No, sorry. The Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles from the GameCube, and a few other games. But like, yeah, those are good games. But the thing is, I know he owns more copies of that too, right? And I get that. But I don't know, I just feel like every time I'm trying my best to give him the best titles that's, duplicates that I can, sell and trade for him, because I hook him up, he hooks me up, we're good together. I'm not gonna mention like, oh yeah, we're a couple. No, we're just good, buddies and all that. Been going to him for years about games and all that, and we're learning everything every other day about games. There's always be something we never know until the next day. We learn something brand new. Who knew about it? So, like, I don't know, he's just weird with Sega to me. I never brung him anything other than Genesis stuff, because I don't have a Master System. I only have like one Master System game. I don't even have a system. I've never given him a Game Gear stuff. I have bought stuff from Game Gear from him. What else was there? Sega CD? Have I ever given him anything Sega CD related? I don't think I have. Saturn, same. I'd never have. I don't know what else, but still, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm always trying, and it's a lot of times he's just not taking a lot of it in. I can get it for sports games. I can get that. I kind of wish he did sometimes, but I know it's not going to sell. That's the problem. I know it's not. I mean, he's to pay bills too. But now it's the point that not even game stores want to take in sports games, which I'm like seriously trying to sell and trade any sports game now to GameStop. Or even a retro gaming store, because I don't want them. I don't want them. The minute I get them, I'm gonna try to sell them. Like the minute, because I don't even want to think about it. And also, sorry, by the way, Shulk just won the match. I sold NCAA Basketball 10. That came out in 2010. Well, 2009. That was for 2010's year. I was told when I sold that, so I traded in for GameStop to, see what I can get for it. It ended up being $19, and I'm like, what the fuck? For this game? I'm like, what? And then I found it out with the cashier, which happens to be my old boss, Jake. Hey, Jake. I used to work at GameStop, by the way. I'm gonna go back, hopefully, if they still accept me. But regardlessly, I didn't know, and neither did he until we looked it up. NCAA basketball 2010 or whatever, it was the last one of its kind. I think it was either the last or the second last, and we're like, damn, no wonder why. It's because it's a high dollar game for a sports game. Like, really? And the weird thing is that, like, I had like 2 Madden games, and it was like Madden no, sorry, not 2, 3 Madden games. One was like Madden 8, 10, and 11 for 360s. Sorry, 3 Madden games. And, those weren't like barely worth shit. And I traded it in with that, and I was like, oh my god. I was shocked. Of course, I bought 2 games with it, and I bought an extra game because I wanted a game. But I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm just realizing that the sports games, they differ. I guess especially look for the NCAA anything. Seriously, I had no idea. But still, I'm not saying game collecting is getting harder, which I know I just said a while ago it is and it isn't. But it's just the problem is, and it is not a problem at all. This is the point. when there's games that you don't have and you know you want to collect for, and you just can't get them a lot of the times because they're expensive. They're expensive. And I get it that the whole argument of, hey, this person online, like Angry Video Game Nerd, or Game Chasers, or some person like Gamester to Pat NES Punk, or somebody out there made it aware and like, oh my god, it's expensive because it's fun and yada yada yada. I get that argument, but it's not really like, hey, they're telling you like, oh hey, go make this a high price dollar game. Like, no. There's a lot of games that's fun, that's not expensive. People are aware of them. Not a lot of people, but, you know, there's going to always be games that can be expensive and not expensive. It just depends on the demand. I know, I get that. Demand. And also, you know, how rare, how common, and all that takes into effect, too. So, like, for example, 3D Game Heroes. It's not that common. It's not that rare. It's kind of a little bit of an uncommon game, a little bit. But it's fun, and it's for PS3, and it's like $10 to $20. And I'm like, really? It's a cheap game, to come to think about it, because a lot of people love that game. So, anyways, Corey won that match. And if I go in old school, like Super Nintendo, you can't go wrong with, like, NBA Jam. NBA Jam, yeah, it's not hard to find a fucking copy of NBA Jam for the Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, or even freaking, I think it was on Saturn and Sega CD, and I could be wrong about, oh, it was also on Game Gear, possibly Game Boy, I don't even know. NBA Jam, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. And I get that. It's a fun game. I own NBA Jam, by the way. I like the game. I actually played the shit out of it when I had a Genesis at first. And it's fun. I liked it. It's not expensive. It's not expensive. It's not like... It's sought after. Not a lot. But if it's like, if you're starting out with a console for Super or Genesis and you don't own a game, yeah, you're going to want NBA Jam. Even if it's like a $5 to $10 game, but you're going to want it, right? But the thing is, there's so many fucking copies of NBA Jam, it's easy to find a copy of NBA Jam. So that's like, you know, a no-brainer. You know, it's just, you want it, you're going to play it, it's going to be fun, and that shit was not limited quantity, sorry. People bought it. Tons of people bought it. It's hard not to find it. Like, if you're going to say, I've never seen it before and it's hard to find, I can't blame you, because it just depends on how you live. I get that too, because trust me, I get that. My friend Connor, Mr. Ragnarok, he was on this weekly Smash thing before, Smash of the Week. He took forever to find the game Okami, Final Fantasy 12, and I believe Xenogears. Sorry, not Xenogears. Xenoblade Chronicles, the original on Wii. And I could be wrong. I don't know what else, but still, it took him ages to find these games, and I'm like, I just found a copy of Final Fantasy 12, like, literally the other day, and I said the same freaking thing with Okami. I was like, hey, I just found a copy of Okami for the Wii, and he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you go to, like, every fucking game store, and there's always a copy for Okami, and then it would be the same thing with Xenoblade Chronicles. It's just, the thing is, it's always there, but it's expensive, and it's, you know, that's probably the reason why nobody wants to buy a $50, $60 game for the Wii. You know, that's expensive, so... You know? So... It depends. It seriously depends where you live. I get that. It super depends on where you live. Captain Falcon won that match, by the way. And it depends on the area, the environment, where you live, the price, how common, how uncommon, what version, what variant. It depends on so many things. You know... So, for me, retro gaming, it's not getting harder to find games I don't have. It's just getting harder to find deals. That's all I could personally say. I'm not saying I hate the Game Chasers or Angry Video Game Nerd. I personally love them. They're making me aware of games I never knew about. I have interest in. Yeah, if they're like a $200+ games, I would say, yeah, literally say fuck that shit. But I always think to myself, there has to be another alternative. You know, it's always emulators and stuff, and I get that. Even, you know, reproduction cards. Even that's been like a big thing in the last few years. For you know, bad and good. You know, trying to sell. It's bad. You know, trying to sell as a real copy and all that is bad. You know. But if you're trying to sell as like, hey, everybody knows it's a reproduction card and it's like $30 except for like $70 to $100 game, whatever everybody thinks it is, and you know it's a reproduction card, like it even says the word reproduction somewhere on the damn thing, then you know it's like a good thing because, well, at least that person's just telling you it's a reproduction card, you know? So, Toon Link won that match. This match is Dark Pit and Rosalina and Luma. So, like, you know, I get that. I own myself a few reproduction cards because it's the only way to own some games. For, like, Mother 1 on the NES, I own that. It originally only released for the Famicom. And I know the same thing with the Game Boy Advance. I own it for the NES for $5. Yeah, good deal. That's what I said to say that. What's another reproduction? Oh, Mario and Wario. It's a game for the Super Nintendo that uses the mouse for like Mario Paint, and that works freaking fine. So it works like you know, great. You know, it works great, and you know, like it just works great. Like it's good, and it doesn't, you know, not work, but it's fine. What's another one I have? I'm trying to think. Well, I don't know. I can't think of all of them right now. But you know, some reproduction cards I want because it's the only way I can probably play some games ever. For me, like Little Samson, Mr. Gimmick, the you know, the Nintendo Championship World thing. You know that thing. The Nintendo World Championships, 1991. Star Fox 2, which I know is going for the Super NES Classic Edition, but hey, you never know. If I don't get that, I still want to get a reproduction card of it. So, you know, stuff like that, you know. At least I know it's reproduction, and in some reproduction, it's probably better than the original actual idea. Like, here's a game for, like, Dreamcast I want. It's Power Stone. Power Stone 1 and 2, and someone made a Dreamcast reproduction that emulates both, Power Stone 1 and 2, called the Power Stone Collection, and it's just both Power Stone games on the Dreamcast for $30. And if you don't know, the first Power Stone game is a $50 game, and the second Power Stone game is like a $100 game. I'm like, yeah, well, 80, but still. I'm like, wow, that's a fucking great deal, you know? And it's not like the disc is like, oh, hey, it was straight up, just this, like, no picture on it. It doesn't even look that great. It's just fucking, it's a CD-ROM, like, from, like, Walmart or some shit. Nothing like that. It's actually kind of high value, you know, kind of, like, high quality. So, I like stuff like that. It's not official, but it works, and it could be official. And plus, you know, no one's making Dreamcast games. Well, okay, that's a lie. People are still making Dreamcast games, but not like an official product. It's outdated, you know. Like the Sega's not supporting it. It's by indies now, you know. So I get that, but you know, it's just not like a high value thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go buy a Dreamcast game today. Like, who says that anymore? You know. So, like, it just depends on what, you know, you collect. And for me, it's just getting a little, like, harder to collect for just games in general. Not because of the prices. Well, yes, that is a part of it. But it's just because, for me, it's getting harder to find games that I don't already have. So, Dark Pit won that match. The next match, I don't know what it is. It could be the second to last match or last match. I don't know. Okay, so this match is Sonic versus Fox. I think it's the last match, actually. Like, if I see a box full of GameCube games, and I see every GameCube game, and all the GameCube games are the games I already have, except for, like, one or two, and maybe that one GameCube game I want out of the two is actually what I want, and it's a little bit expensive, though, I'm like, it depends on what else is on the table. If I have better ideas, like, hey, maybe I don't want to buy that game now. Maybe it's like, maybe later down the line, I can get it cheaper, or freaking, ooh, sorry, I can buy it cheaper, or, maybe there's another game in my mind that's probably more higher value, volume, whatever. I just want. I don't know. It just depends. So, but you know, I feel like I own all the major GameCube-like games almost, and then same with the Wii. I'm almost done with the Wii, by the way. It's harder to collect for some games I just can't find. And trust me, it's getting very tiring. I can't, like, oh my god, I'm like, why can't this just be here in the state I live in, you know? I don't want to go off eBay because apparently it's expensive. Didn't go on GameStop, which is like a $5 game, other than like a $25 game. Like, what the fuck, you know? So, like, it's just the numbers game. It's the numbers game nowadays. You have to just try and try and try. You have to think of every possible possibility that you can somehow get a deal, somehow trade for trade bait, for anything. For me, I go to thrift stores so I can find stuff I personally want, and also find stuff that I can sell or trade away to get stuff that I do want. It works the same thing with like retro game stores. Some don't even know what they have, and some can, you know, slip through the cracks, which I learned that from Game Changers, which is super true. I bought so many games, not so many, but I bought a good few games that is supposed to be higher, but they were very cheap at retro game stores, and that's kind of not embarrassing, but kind of like crazy. So not like, oh, like a $300 game to $5 games, fucking Billy, but you know what I mean. So stuff like that. Thrift stores, game stores, retro game stores, I don't know, pawn shops. Haven't been to a pawn shop for a minute, but still, pawn shops, even they don't know a lot of times. And those are the times I just love, because they never know. Who knows? Like, oh yeah, I found a $50 game for $2. Like, you know, I found Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64 for fucking $5, and that's a fucking $80, I think, to a $90 game now. I'm like, really? It really is, and that's insane. That's crazy. And I personally want to tell you, I've owned I've owned 3 Conker's Bad Fur Days in my lifetime, all at once, by the way. So you gotta kind of think about that. But anyways, this will be seriously it for today, because this is almost over. So it's over. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you guys all for the next Smash of the Week. All right, and I'll tell you some more later on. Okay, bye bye.
Chaos Control!